So I had this breakthrough, which I described in the last video, where I realized that emails aren't messages, they're actions. Actions like replying, doing, meeting, forwarding, and so on. And with this realization came the understanding that sorting and prioritizing my emails into action folders and then acting on them in batches by folder was faster and required less effort than dealing with them out of my inbox, and that was great. What ended up being way harder than I originally anticipated was figuring out the best way to set up these folders to organize my email. If you've ever gone down the path of trying to get emails out of your inbox and organized into folders, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But it turns out that figuring out a system that worked for me wasn't enough. I needed a system that worked for everyone. What I've learned from teaching this class for over 10 years is that everyone's email workflow is just a little different. So I'm not going to just show you how I organize these folders, but explain why to do it so that you can customize your folders to fit the way you work and really the way that you think. At the base level, I use 3 types of folders to organize my email. I call these action, archive, and active folders. In this video, I'm going to focus on the action folders. In the next video, I'll talk about archive and active folders. At the base level, I recommend these 5 action folders: reply, forward, meet, review CC, and do. The reply folder is emails I need to respond to directly. The forward folder is for actions that I need to delegate to other people or offload to other systems. For example, if I get a task via email but I need someone else to do it, I would put it into the forward folder. Or if I get an email and I want to download and store it, or a pic that I want to store in my photo library, or something that I want to forward on, then I would put it into my forward folder. The meet folder is for meetings or events that I need to schedule, confirm, or accept on my calendar. And let me be specific here. If you see an email in this folder, it's either a meeting invite that you need to check your calendar on before you accept, or a meeting that requires you to schedule a meeting with someone else. If that's the case, then put it into this folder. I use the Review CC folder in a few ways. I put my newsletters here, I put emails that I'm CC'd on here, basically anything that I'm not required to respond to. And this is one of the most important folders because it keeps the number of emails in my reply folder especially down to a minimum. And finally, I have the do folder, which is for tasks that I have to get done. These aren't just tasks from other people. Sometimes I even email myself a reminder to do a task and put it into this folder. Now, this particular structure didn't happen by accident. I literally went through hundreds of iterations to come up with this set of folders. Even given that, do you think this set of folders will work for everyone? Definitely not. You'll likely be able to use this folder set as is, but at some point, either now or in the future, you'll need to change it or you'll get frustrated. So I'm going to show you what I learned about creating folders and share a few rules so you can build and manage a set of folders that's perfect for you. The first key is to only keep the folders that are relevant to you. For example, if you never end up using the forward folder, then get rid of it and just use the remaining 4. If you move to a different role and end up needing it in the future, you can always add it back. And of course, add folders as necessary based on your particular needs. But keep in mind that you don't want so many folders that it's annoying to click through all of them. And if you have too few folders, you could end up with too many emails in any one of them, which makes it cumbersome to get through a folder. In this case, it would take forever to get through the reply folder, which often causes people to stall out when using the technique. You want just the right number of folders to create enough separation so there aren't too many messages in any one folder, and so you're not clicking through too many folders to get through the stack. And if you're adding or changing any of these folders, it's important that you name them correctly. The names should be short and action-oriented. Here are some examples of good folder names. Invoice, trade, purchase, file, and scan are all examples of short action names. They tell you what action is required before you open the folder. When you open it, you're immediately ready to get a move on the emails inside. You'll notice that the folders I recommend starting with already meet this criteria. They're short and they're action-oriented. I want to hammer this home a little more because it's important. Imagine for a second that instead of naming the last folder do, I named it To Do. So here they are side by side. Notice the difference. The one on the left is cleaner, simpler, and more motivating. Do means get it done. To do means do it later. You're going to be looking at your email inbox thousands of times a year. Why not put yourself in a better headspace every time you look at your inbox by using an active statement instead of a passive one? Often, I find that just sitting down to do my email is a psychological battle. That's why all of the small things in the entire stack method, which include things like naming folders, are so important. They prime your mind to get over the hump and get your email done. Of course, the order in which you work through these folders matters. It sets your priority for how you'll be handling your email. Here's the order that works best for me. And here it is sequenced for clarity. Question for you. Do you think this order will work for everyone? Definitely not. You'll need to customize it to fit the way you work. But it's important to have an order. I'm going to share the order I use in case you want to adopt my logic. So I put my emails in order of anxiety. I'm way more nervous about not replying to something than I am about not doing something, not meeting someone, not offloading, and not forwarding. I start off with high anxiety, and as soon as I finish my replies, I feel a lot better. About half of my anxiety falls into this bucket. By the time I'm done with my do and meet folders, about 90% of my anxiety is gone and about 80% of the heavy lifting is done. The rest of the folders are then not only easy, but quick to work through because they're not as demanding mentally. One last note before I finish with order. I literally use these numbers in the actual folder names. Most email programs sort alphanumerically. By using the numbers in the folder names, it floats them to the top of my folder list and keeps them in order. So when you choose your folders and pick your sequences, make sure to include the numbers in the name of the folder. When I put it all together, it's a really simple set of rules. Only keep the folders you need. Create separation with the right number of folders so you don't have too many emails in one folder. Use short, action-oriented folder names. They're not just cleaner, but more motivating. Prioritize your folders in the sequence that works best for you, and use numbers in the folder names. And that's it for this lesson. I've shown you how to customize, organize, and prioritize your action folders. In the next video, I'm going to cover the other two folder types, archive and active.